What's up, everyone? This is Dave LeClaire with MakeUseOf.com, and today we're here to bring you our Xbox One X review. We're going to dig in, we're going to take a look at Microsoft's latest gaming console, and we are going to figure out, is it worth the $500 price tag, which is $100 more than the PS4 Pro, or are you better off keeping the Xbox you have, or if you don't have an Xbox at all, are you better off picking up one of the cheaper models? We are going to figure all that out as we make our way through this review, so sit back and enjoy the ride. Alright, so the first detail we need to dig into are the games. After all, that's what you're going to be playing on your fancy new $500 Xbox One X. And right now I have to say the launch lineup is a little bit underwhelming, only because there isn't this big game that came out on the day of the console where you're like, this is the showpiece. This is why I went out and bought this new console. Instead, there's a bunch of games that have already been out that are upgraded. Games like Forza 7, Assassin's Creed Origins, Shadow of War, Call of Duty World War II, which is a pretty new release that actually just came out. They've been given the 4K UHD boost, and they do look fantastic. But with the loss of games like Crackdown 3 and Sea of Thieves that were going to be coming out, that were supposed to be some powerhouses that showcase the Xbox One X, it does hurt the library a little bit. Now on the other side, there's some pretty cool upgrades for like Skate 3 is an Xbox 360 game that's been brought forward. The older Halo games have been brought forward. Fallout 3, The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, all 360 games can now run in something like 4K on your Xbox One X. And I gotta say, Skate 3 looks ridiculous. I cannot believe that's an Xbox 360 game when I'm playing it. So right there, that is cool. And overall, there's about 70 games currently listed that already work on the One X with some type of upgrade, and there's more coming. There's on Microsoft's website, there's a whole list of them. A lot of them are in development. And a lot of them don't really list clearly exactly what is upgraded. Some of them say 4K, some say HDR, and then some just say Xbox One X Enhanced. What does that mean? It probably means it gets a better frame rate or a slight boost to performance, but there's no tangible like, okay, it is 4K now. It'll just run a little bit better. But pretty much every game is going to run a little bit better on the Xbox One X. That's part of the appeal, is that you can throw any game in there and it will see some benefit from the more powerful hardware. And that is cool. I just wish there was a real showpiece game that you could say, like, this is why you should go out and buy the One X. As it stands, as far as the games lineup go, you're going to have to wait and see what Microsoft comes out with. Alright, so since this is the new console, this is the next generation, the thing we need to get into right now is the actual numbers of the console, the specs. Where does it compare to the PS4 Pro? PS4 Pro is going to be its major competitor, as PC gaming kind of exists in a different space. Though they are somewhat competitive, the real thing we need to look at is how it compares to the PS4 Pro. So as far as the processor goes, they both have 8 cores, but it's clocked at 2.3 gigahertz on the Xbox One X, whereas the PS4 Pro is 2.1. The graphics feature 6 teraflops of performance on the One X, while the PS4 Pro comes with 4.2, so you do get a little bit more graphical power. Same goes for the RAM, 12 gigs of DDR5 on the One X versus 8 on the PS4 Pro. They both come with 1 terabyte hard drives, and then the other place where there's a big difference between the two is on the Xbox One X, you actually get a 4K HDR Blu-ray player. You do not get that on the PS4 Pro. So if you're really big into home watching movies and you want the full 4K movie experience, it's actually going to have to be the Xbox One X or bust for you, because that is one place where the consoles really differ, aside from the fact that the Xbox One X is, as Microsoft says, the most powerful console out there. So the last thing we want to talk about here is the actual physical hardware itself. The Xbox One X console is actually quite a bit smaller than the original Xbox One. It is smaller than the PS4 Pro. It is not smaller than the Slim and the Xbox One S, but it is very, very, very negligible difference in terms of size between those consoles. So for the power that's in there, it is actually quite small and it's quite heavy. It weighs over 8 pounds, and that's because the power brick is inside of it. There's also the vapor chamber. Ooh, it sounds spooky, which helps to keep it cool. And so far in our testing, it was extremely cool. It was running at a temperature that you would put your hand on it and it didn't even feel hot at all, which is more than I could say for the PS4 Pro, which does get a little bit on the hot side, but not so much that it's a problem. But either way, it runs super cool, even when you're running games at 4K, running Gears of War at 4K, no problem, runs nice and cool. So it does have that going for it. Now the controller is pretty similar. It does have a slightly grippier texture on it, which I actually like. I found that it kept my hands from sweating. But it's not a big change. There's no new shape, no new buttons. It's not like an Elite or anything like that, though they do have a bundle that includes the Elite controller. But if you just go with the base out-of-the-box controller, it's the same controller that you know and love, or you know and hate. If you already don't like the Xbox One controller, that's a matter of opinion. But the controller is basically the same. The console is where the big changes came. And man, having that power brick in it and not having that giant brick outside the console makes such a difference in terms of hooking it up. Just feels really good to not have that thing tucked away in my entertainment stand. Feels like an actual brick and not a power supply. So all in all, I got to say the hardware itself in terms of the form factor is good. It's impressive. It looks good. It's small. It's very minimalist. It's not a in-your-face flashy console like the S was. It has a very subdued design, which, like it or hate it, at least it's not ridiculous looking like a toaster or George Foreman grill like the original PS3 or anything like that. So it's a good looking console. You will like it on your entertainment stand. You'll probably forget it's there because it's just a black kind of nondescript box. But once you play it, then you'll remember that it exists and that you spent $500 on it. So now we got to get to the big question. Should you buy the Xbox One X? And my answer is actually going to fall into 3 different categories. Do you already have an Xbox One? If you already have an Xbox One right now, I really can't recommend upgrading. There's just not enough games for it. But if you don't already have an Xbox One, which is number 2, and you have a 4K TV, you might as well get the X because it's going to future-proof you. You're going to be able to run the games in 4K. Now, the last person is the person who doesn't have a 4K TV. They have a 1080p TV, and they don't have an Xbox. This is where things get a little bit more difficult. I would say you should probably get yourself an Xbox One S, as it costs half as much as the One X, and you're still going to get most of the benefits. You're not going to get all the extra power, but you're going to get a good chunk of them, and you're going to save yourself a lot of money. Now, if money is no object, I don't even know why you're watching this review. Just go buy the Xbox One X. It is the most powerful gaming console, as Microsoft says. It does what's advertised. So if money is not an issue, just go buy the thing. But if you fall into one of those 3 categories, that's personally what I would recommend. Again, it is going to come down to your budget and what you like, but I will just say that overall, I'm happy with the One X. I think it is a great console. I just think that there needs to be some more games for it. Once again, this is Dave LeClaire with MakeUseOf.com. Thank you very much for watching this review, and we will see you guys next time.